Hola, in this video we're going to talk about reflexive verbs, verbos reflexivos. So particularly in this video, I will answer the question, what is a reflexive verb? Then I'll answer the question, how do you conjugate reflexive verbs? And finally, we'll do some practice. All right, so first, what is a reflexive verb? Well, a reflexive verb is a verb in which the subject and the object of the verb are the same. The subject is the person who does the action, and the object is the person who receives the action. Or put another way, a reflexive verb represents an action a person does to him or herself. And in Spanish, these reflexive verbs in the infinitive form end in se. So that infinitive form is the one you find in a dictionary or on wordreference.com. And so now these reflexive verbs have a couple extra letters on them, se, they end in se. All right, so to kind of talk a little bit more about what a reflexive verb is, let's take these four verbs down here and sort them into which ones are reflexive and which ones are not reflexive. All right, so we start off with leer, to read. This one is not reflexive because you see it just ends in er. There's no se on the end of it. And when you read a book, you're not reading yourself. You're reading the book. The book is the object, where the person and the subject is different. Right, taking a look at ducharse, to take a shower. All right, well, first, we know it's reflexive because it ends in se here. Now, if you ignore the se at the end of it, you see that it would end in ar, which we're used to verbs ending in ar, er, or ir. So it's similar in that way, but now we tag on this extra se to the end of it. And we can also think that it's reflexive because when you take a shower to yourself. You are the person doing it, and you're the person receiving the action. And we look at comer. That is not reflexive because, one, it does not end in se, and also when you eat something, you are eating an object that is different from yourself. And then to take a look at cepillarse, los dientes. This is a reflexive verb, one, because the infinitive cepillarse ends in se. And also, and this one gets a little bit complicated, when you brush your teeth, you are doing that action to yourself. Now, technically, you're brushing your teeth, but in Spanish, they look at it as saying that you are the person that's brushing, and you're the person that is getting their teeth brushed. So it's reflexive. You're doing the action to yourself. All right, so now let's take a look at exactly how do you conjugate these reflexive verbs. All right, so the first step we do is to take the se on the end of the verb and separate it. So we're just going to put it to the side, and we're going to take that se, and that's going to be the first part of our conjugation here. Now for the verb ducharse, which means to take a shower, we're conjugating this for the yo form in the preterit form. We want to be able to say, I took a shower. So this se actually needs to turn into me, because me is the reflexive pronoun that goes along with the yo form. The second step is to take the remaining stem after we take the se off and count the last two letters from the end. Uno, dos. Take those letters and we get rid of them. So now we're left with this stem here. We're going to use the stem just like we do normally. So now we have yo, me, duch. And now we have to add the ending. So that's the third step. So after we have yo, me, duch, copy the stem after taking off the last two letters. Then we add the ending for the yo form in the preterit tense in this example. Yo, me, duche. I took a shower. Now notice in Spanish, for these reflexive verbs, we now have two words in our conjugation. It's not just yo hablé or yo comí. It's now yo me duché. And here is the table of the reflexive pronouns. So these are those extra words you now have to add to the beginning of the conjugations of these reflexive verbs. For the yo form, it's me. For the tu form, it's te. For the él, ella, usted form, it's se. For the nosotros, nosotras form, it's nos. For the vosotros, vosotras form, it's os. And for the ellos, ellas, ustedes form, it's se as well. So ele, usted, and ellos, ellas, ustedes have the same reflexive pronoun of se. Alright, so let's do a little bit of practice. So we'll take number 1 as an example to start off with. El bañarse. We'll do this in the preterite tense, so we want to say he took a bath. Alright, so now that bañarse is a reflexive verb, and we know that because it ends in se, our first step is to take that se off and use it as the first part of our conjugation. Now we're talking about the el form, so up in our reflexive pronouns table, we see that the el form uses se as a reflexive pronoun. So in this case, there's no difference here. Then we count the last 2 letters from the remaining infinitive. So we take off the a, ere from bañar. We copy this remaining stem, bañ. And since we're talking about the el form in the preterite tense, for an AR verb, the ending is o con accento. So he took a bath is se bañó. Alright, so go ahead and take a moment to finish up with the remaining practice examples, 2 through 5. Maybe press pause with the video, and then I'll come back and explain the answers. Alright, so here are the answers for our practice problems. Número 2, nosotros despertarse. We woke up. Nos despertamos. Again, in these reflexive verbs, we have now 2 parts to the conjugation, 2 words. Nos is the pronoun for nosotros, and then despertamos, we take, after taking the se off, turning it into nos, take off the last 2 remaining letters, take our stem, despert, add the ending for nosotros in the preterite tense amos to give us nos despertamos. To vestirse, you got dressed. Te vestiste. Número 4, ellas maquillarse. They put on makeup, the girls. Se maquillaron. And we have the se here because it's ellos. And then número 5, yo cepillarse los dientes. Because it's the yo form, we have this me. And then after taking off the se, take off those last 2 letters on the rest of the infinitive, give us the stem of cepi. E con accento because it's yo form, the preterite tense. And then we copy the rest of the words here, los dientes. So I brush my teeth, me cepillé los dientes. Gracias por mirar. Adiós.